Hello everyone, welcome to the second lesson of the second module. Before we begin, let's recap on what we touched on last week. Last week we showed you that you don't need to target everyone because number one, you save on resources. Number two, you get to know your market better. Number three, you get to be strategic about how you run your business and your marketing. We showed you how you can define your target market and create a client profile for your business. The client profile is a very important document for your business. You will continually refer to it when you do your marketing communication and when you differentiate your service, which is what we will be focusing on today. Imagine your service or product is well differentiated, and because of this, your service is well known by your clients and they're able to differentiate your original service or product from the counterfeits. Since you've differentiated your service or product from the competition, you're able to attract the clients that will be loyal to what you offer and your business. And because of this, your business grows from frequent purchases by your clients, and your business starts to stand out from the rest in your industry. This is possible for you as a small business entrepreneur. But before we show you how, let's look at how small businesses currently approach differentiating their service. Most businesses currently try to differentiate themselves using two elements. One, price. Two, design or brand look. These are two ways you can differentiate your service, but they're not the only ways to do so. Let's start off with price. Most entrepreneurs think if they charge less than the competition, they'll get more customers. Today, I'm telling you that you don't need to undercut the competition to be better or differentiated from them. There are other ways you can differentiate your service. Regarding design, a different design or look for your service or product is good, but it only goes so far in differentiating your service or product. Design helps us choose when we don't want to think, but it cannot make us experience the results you would when you use the product or service. No one buys a product or service that never works, but looks good. Eventually, we choose to buy a service or product over and over again because we get the results we want from it. Design helps us choose, but it cannot make us experience the results from that service. And that is important. Why we show you other ways of differentiating your service or product. A service or product that is differentiated using other tactics instead of price or design will have a better chance to compete in its industry. Your business can even exist on its own competitive level where you're never threatened by what the competition does. Obviously, you're not going to sit back and do nothing when you get to that level, but you would have cultivated your market so well that you will be well known and named a preferred supplier or product. And that's where we want your business to be. Marketing is what you communicate, and your service is the reality of what your marketing communicates. Your restaurant advert or communication cannot show old people, but when I come to the restaurant, there's a hip-hop group performing loud music. Old people and hip-hop don't go together. Hence, it is very important to know your market. Know it so well that what you communicate is reflected by your service. There needs to be consistency. Now that you know who to target from creating last week's client profile, you're now ready to work towards making your service different from the competition using the information that you got. There are 5 influences that the client depends on to reach a decision in buying a service or product. So let's look through these 5 influences. The number 1 is the basic need influence. Number 2 is the preferred solution influence. Number 3 is the type of preferred solution influence. Number 4 is the price influence. And number 5 is the service influence. Now let's dig deeper into these influences. Let's start off with the first one, the basic need influence. This is the basic need that your market has, and because of its existence, businesses have been created and industries are developed because of this basic need. For example, because of the basic need of eating, there are restaurants that provide a solution for that basic need. You can't say you run a restaurant if you're not offering food. If you are not offering food, you are not running a restaurant. But also note that basic needs vary based on your market's earning power and priorities. For example, if you're a single career mom, a basic need for you may be to have a babysitter. But for a stay-at-home mom, that is not a need. The preferred solution influence. The client looks at the options they have regarding the solution they want and they choose the option they prefer. For instance, if I'm hungry, I'll look for a couple of options which will help me make a decision I'm going to be happy with. For example, I can go for Italian foods or traditional foods depending on what I feel like at that moment. The type of preferred solution influence. This influence touches on the how of the solution. This looks at how the service is offered. Is it in a form of a wine and dine restaurant or a food truck? Even though I may know that I want traditional food, I still need to decide in what form. Do I feel like sitting in a restaurant that exudes a traditional atmosphere, or do I just want the food to take home with? The second last one, price. For most clients, this has a huge influence on what they buy. This may be for various reasons like low earning power, the economy, and many other elements. If the client is not happy with the price, they will choose to override every decision that they've made so far and sometimes decide to go through the decision making process all over again simply because they're not happy with the price. As an entrepreneur, your goal is to offer a service or product that provides so much value that the comparison of price becomes trivial. To achieve this, it can be determined by the type of market you're targeting. No matter how much value you may offer, but if you're targeting a low income earner, he or she will not buy your service or product unless it costs less. And the last one, the service influence, which is our core focus for today's lesson. On this one, the client makes a decision based on how your service is offered. If your client is happy with the price you ask them to pay, then you need to make sure that you deliver on what you promised. Because if you don't, it will make it hard for you to resell to them again. What can make your service better in the context of a restaurant is maybe free delivery, live shows, make your own meal menus, and etc. These additions to your services come from understanding your client's desires. You need to understand their hopes and dreams, pains and fears, barriers and uncertainties. The more you know their desires, the more your service becomes better, and the more your service and business becomes differentiated. It's all in serving your client, not simply selling to them. Serve before selling. You can only know how to serve your client if your business is centered around your client's needs and not what you think they need. As a small business, your service and product can be differentiated. It's not impossible. You just need to understand your client and use that to develop products and services that they need. Because of this, your service will be differentiated and your clients will be loyal to your business since you serve their needs. Now let's get into the action steps. Action step number 1. 2 weeks ago, you created your client profile. Now it is time to put that to use. Open your client profile, and from the answers you got, pull out the answers that touch on your client's hopes and dreams, pains and fears, and the barriers and uncertainties. So like hopes and dreams are on question 2 and 10. The pains and fears, you'll find the answers on question 9 and 11. And barriers and uncertainties is question 14, 15, and 16. Action step number 2. Once you've identified what your client's desires are, you need to come up with ideas on how you will make your service or product better to make your client's desires a reality. For example, Phumzile's client's first hopes and dreams is they want to be great achievers, climbing the corporate ladder with good houses, cars, and looking for more in life. So how can Phumzile work on a service to make sure that they get more in life, since climbing the corporate ladder, having a good house, and having a car are far from what Phumzile offers? So Phumzile can find out what is the more. And for example, the more can refer to the trip that they want to take to relax for the weekend. So Phumzile can run a competition that offers a free trip to the Magaliesberg for a client that hires her for catering business more than 10 times in a year. So that is how you can take that desire the client has and integrated into your service. You need to come up with at least 8 ideas for each desire. There isn't a specific way of coming up with ideas, but what you need to make sure is that your ideas answer these following questions. Number 1, how does this idea help them achieve their hopes and dreams? Number 2, how does this idea help them deal with their pain and fear? And number 3, how does this idea remove the barriers and uncertainties they have? Okay, this is the end of the second lesson. I'll see you in the third lesson. Bye.